Have you ever wondered what gives a person the strength to survive the absolutely unthinkable? Today, we're diving into that exact question with one of the most powerful books ever written, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. It's a really short book. You could probably read it in an afternoon, but wow, its impact on how we understand resilience and the human spirit is just massive.
So let's just sit with that question for a second. I mean, really think about it. What allows someone to keep going when they've lost it all? I mean, when absolutely everything has been taken away.
Okay, so to really get Frankl's answer, you've got to understand the guy himself. Because for him, this wasn't just some, abstract question you debate in a coffee shop. No, this was his life, a brutal, horrible reality that he was forced to live through.
And that's really the key, right? This wasn't a theory he cooked up in a comfy armchair or a quiet library. His ideas, they were forged in the fire, in the absolute worst place imaginable. And that gives him this raw power, this authenticity that just hits you.
So let's set the scene. Before the war, Viktor Frankl is a successful psychiatrist in Vienna. Life is good. Then, 1942 hits. His whole world just falls apart. He's arrested and sent to the Nazi concentration camps, including Auschwitz. He loses almost everyone. His wife, his parents, his brother. It's just unimaginable. And yet somehow he comes out of this nightmare not just alive, but with a whole new way of understanding the human mind. So you have to ask, right? What on earth did he find in there? In the middle of all that darkness, he discovered something incredible about us, about people. A kind of freedom, a final, ultimate freedom that existed even in a place built to erase it completely. I mean, just try to put yourself in their shoes for a second. Everything that makes you, gone. Your family, your home, your job, even your name. They were just given a number. Every single thing that props up your identity in the outside world was just systematically ripped away. And right there in that abyss, this is the light bulb moment. This is the core discovery. He realized that even though his captors could control his body, what he ate, where he slept, even whether he lived or died, there was one thing they could never, ever touch: his mind, his inner response. He saw that between what happens to you, the stimulus, and how you react, the response, there's a little gap, a space. And in that tiny space lies your freedom. So he's watching the people around him, and he notices something fascinating. The people who survived, it wasn't always the strongest ones physically. No. He saw that the prisoners who just broke, the ones who gave up first, were the ones who had lost all hope, who couldn't see any future for themselves. But the survivors, they were the ones who held on to a reason to live. Maybe it was the face of a loved one they hoped to see again. Maybe it was a book they felt they had to write. They had a why. And if you have a powerful enough why, you can bear almost any how. All right, so he survives. He's liberated. But this whole experience, it doesn't just stay a memory. Frankl takes this incredibly powerful idea he discovered in the camps and turns it into a whole new approach to psychology. He gives it a name: logotherapy. It comes from the Greek word logos, which pretty much means meaning. And the central idea is, well, it's pretty simple, but it's also a total game changer. He says that the main thing that drives us as humans, it's not the pursuit of pleasure, and it's not the desire for power, it's the search for meaning. Now, this was a pretty big deal at the time, because it flew in the face of what the big names in psychology were saying. You had Freud, who was all about the will to pleasure, then you had Adler, who said it was all about the will to power, and Frankl comes along and says, you know what, you're both kind of missing the point. The most basic human drive is the will to meaning. Okay, that sounds great, right? The will to meaning. But how do you actually find it? What does that even look like in real life? Well, the cool thing is, Frankl didn't just leave it as some big philosophical idea. He gave us a roadmap, 3 actual paths we can take. First, you can find meaning in what you do, by creating something, by doing good work. Second, you can find it through love, by caring for another person, by really connecting with them. And the third one, this is the one that's just so profound. You can find meaning in how you face suffering that you can't avoid. It's that idea that when you literally cannot change a situation anymore, that's when you're challenged to change yourself. And honestly, this is why Frankl's work feels like it could have been written yesterday. He talked about this thing he called the existential vacuum. Sound familiar? It's that feeling of emptiness, that is this all there is, kind of boredom that so many of us can feel, even when we have everything we're supposed to want. He said that feeling comes from a deep down lack of meaning. So when you boil it all down, what's the lasting message here? What's the big takeaway from this incredible book?
It's really about flipping the script on how we think about life itself.
At its heart, the message is this: there is always hope, but it comes with responsibility. It tells us that meaning can be found anywhere, in any situation, that you are in control of your reaction, even when you can't control what's happening. It says that pain doesn't have to be meaningless. And maybe most importantly, life isn't about you asking what the meaning of life is. It's about life asking you what you're going to do about it.
And look, the proof is in the pudding. This book has sold over 16 million copies. I mean, think about that. Clearly, this message, a message that was born from the absolute depths of human despair, speaks to something fundamental inside all of us.
So at the end of the day, Man's Search for Meaning isn't just a book you read and put back on the shelf. It's a challenge. It's Frankl looking you right in the eye and saying, life is constantly throwing challenges at you, asking you questions. Your job isn't to wait for some grand meaning to appear. Your job is to answer. So the question he leaves us with, the question I'll leave you with, is, what's your answer going to be?